we've pretty much got about 3 greenhouses full, and we really haven't got started on vegetables yet. We've got a few vegetables coming along, but as far as our production for what we're going to put in the field and the plants that we're going to retail, we're just barely getting started on those. So that gives you an indication of how busy we have been around here. I had some folks ask about my heat mat and how that was going. It worked great for flowers. Started all of our flowers on this. This year we did get some plugs in, like we always have, of some stuff that I didn't really want to try to get started. Some of the begonias and whatnot are a little tricky to start, so I bought those in. But as far as the tomatoes and peppers, I think it would have worked okay, but about night number 2 we had mice come in and dig up 20 or however many trays this heat mat holds. So I just, as far as vegetables, I scrapped the idea. I mean, it worked great for flowers. I've still got a few flowers here. These petunias got started on the heat mat. Those Dusty Miller were started on the heat mat. It gives a good consistent germination. These impatiens were, I'm not really sure why I've got a little dead spot going on, but as far as tomatoes, I've gone back to my old ways of using the freezer with the heat mat and the water pan on top of it. And here's some tomatoes that I just pulled out of that germination box. You can see there's a couple trays that should have been pulled out earlier than they were, but that's okay. Got a whole bunch of, I think there's about 17 varieties of tomatoes here. Everything is really starting to come to life. New Guineas have finally taken off. They sat there forever before they did, but now they're getting on with it. I do have a few tomatoes here. These are going to be some early, these are going to be some gambling tomatoes. I'm going to set them out about the 1st of April beside of our strawberries, and if we get a frost, we're going to put a row of sprinklers, and I'll frost protect tomatoes when I frost protect strawberries. So that's going to be kind of a gamble. That's the reason there's a small small quantity, because we're not really out of danger of frost until mid, I'd say 3rd week of April. We're usually frost free here where I'm at, so it's a little risky setting them out early, but no risk, no reward, I guess. Tomatoes are one of those things that the early bird gets the worm. If you can show up to the farmer's market with tomatoes before everybody else, you pull in them customers, and once you've got them, they usually stay with you. Lantana, got a lot of lantana going, several different varieties. I really like this one I got from a friend of mine. This is a variegated lantana. It's real pretty. Lantana's kind of slow to get going because it really likes hot weather. I'm not sure if these varieties of lantana are perennial here. I think I'm gonna try some. You get south of where we're at, lantana's perennial. You get way on further south, like Florida, people ask, why in the world would you plant lantana? Because I think it's pretty invasive. It's pretty bad weed, because the birds spread the seed around and it comes up and they just have it everywhere, taking over. But here we don't have that problem. It's beautiful plant, very drought tolerant, very heat tolerant. Right here, some more lantana. These are, I don't like these varieties as good. They're not, leaves are small and they're slower growing. Let's see. I've still got some transplanting to do. These are some Easy Way petunias that I started from seed myself. And I'm gonna show y'all, we'll go over here to the other greenhouses here in just a minute, and I'm gonna show y'all, nothing against the people I buy my plants from, but I swear my petunias have taken off a lot faster this year. And I think they probably use some kind of regulator to make all the plants stay short where they can ship them, and also to keep a real consistent growth across the trays. And I think maybe that slows them down a little bit as far as the petunias getting going. But this year my petunias, I started them from seed myself, as I mentioned, and I don't remember exactly when these were seeded, but these things have absolutely taken off like a rocket. I think I will probably grow my own petunias from now on, because I don't have to buy 288 of one color. I can grow exactly the number I need of each color that I want, and have more variety. These are some of my Calibrachoa plugs I got in early. They're really doing well. I have gotten away from an external saucer pot. So these are internal saucer pots. We used to always use an external saucer pot like this, and they hold water, and that might be convenient later in the season. But as far as getting started, I think it's easier to round out a plant with an external saucer pot. And in February, when we have cloudy days and you're trying to get stuff started, it's really easy to drown stuff. So these are the last of the external saucer pots that I've got, and I don't think I'm ever going back, because I think you get more consistent drying through this type of pot right here. But let's go over to the other greenhouses, and I'll give you an update over there. I finally got number 3 greenhouse, the one that I've mentioned, if I can ever get it 100% complete. This is probably going to be my favorite greenhouse, just because of the way it's built. Solid rock floor, drains really well, good inflation, good insulation, LB white heater, minimal propane use. Anyway, it's still a little junky. We still got some containers up this side that have not been used, but in one of my recent videos, if you're paying attention, this was cram-packed full. So we have used the majority of our containers. Actually, I'm gonna have to go up to Virginia and pick up some more containers, because we ran out of some things that we need. But stuff's coming along well. I got some Mexican petunia and Mono lavender that I started. They're a little spindly, kept them in the plug trays too long. But here's what I wanted to show y'all. These have been planted for 3 weeks, and they were so small when we planted them, I wondered if they would survive. I mean, they were tiny little plugs that barely had any roots in them. I grow, typically petunias are raised in 288s. These I raised in, or seeded them in 392s, and they were just barely big enough to plant when we planted them. And I mean, they were just lost in this 10-inch pot, and we put 4 little plugs in here. And now you can see they are starting to put out runners. We didn't tag them. We hardly ever tag petunias, because they're early to bloom, and usually you can tell what you got pretty quick. Lantana baskets, these are slow, and one of the reasons for that, Lantana's slow anyway, as I mentioned, when the weather's cooler. But these, I've got them on the floor in here. That's not really the best place to grow lantana. If perfect situation to grow lantana, set your thermostat in your greenhouse on like 85 and hang them babies up at the ceiling, and they'll take off. They like it hot, and they don't mind it dry either. Asparagus ferns are really going, but these petunias just are, I could not be more happy with these petunias. I'll be seeding my own from now on. Got more Calibrachoa over here. Some verbena. All this, everything in here, I think, I'm pretty certain that every flower in here I started from seed. Got some Cone Coleus that is rolling. That is a great Coleus. It's tough as nails and it gets huge. I love it. Portulaca. Those things are really, really pretty. This whole side down through here is petunias, all different varieties. Aren't those Portulacas awesome? And it's gonna take a while for them to fill out these baskets, but the flowers are pretty on them already. More petunias I started from seed. These are Bloom Masters. I've got some more Bloom Masters over here that I'm going to do mixed, put a variety of things in. And this is probably one of the things I am the most proud of. Thanks to some advice from a good friend of mine, I finally learned how to grow these Al's pouches. I have struggled with these for years. I would have about 30% of them that would just drown out and look like garbage the whole time. And my friend Cindy told me that I needed to pack the dirt in them tight and soak them completely through before you plant them. And that's really seems to have been the key to success. These petunias that we've got in them, just like the others over there, are awesome and really getting after it. But this is by far the best my Al's pouches have ever looked. I had some extra verbena, so I did one verbena basket here, and it's really pretty as well. We were wide open in here yesterday. Everything in the back of this greenhouse got planted yesterday. Ton of 6.5-inch cups, all kinds of begonias and sun patients, begonia and sun patient baskets, a lot of grasses. I got Muhlenbergia, red rooster, lemongrass, marigolds, tons of succulents back here. And then we do have a few tomatoes. So these are going to be some of our early field tomatoes, not as early as the ones I showed you over in the other greenhouse. These will be closer to the proper planting date. Got a few vegetable plants going. There's always some crazy gardeners that want to come in about the end of March and want to buy vegetable plants. And I don't know if they carry them inside or what they do, but if they want to get them bit by frost and come back and buy more plants, I'm happy to keep selling them to them. And we've got a few cold crops left. Some stuff that we were planning on transplanting, but I think that I'm just going to go straight to the field with them. We have gone to the field with 392s and broccoli before, and you'll lose some, but they usually will take off and grow pretty well, especially when they're like this. I mean, that's a really tough, stocky, well-developed plant right there, even though it's on a small root ball. And it'll save us a bunch of time in transplanting. But I'm gonna take y'all over here and show y'all what everybody's been asking about, the strawberries. So I got the triple row strawberries going on, which is some people, they've said that I was kind of crazy for trying that. And also I've had a lot of people ask about the Neo situation. We were able to buy clean transplants out of Idaho and out of California, and So Neo is not an issue for us, thankfully. But I'm gonna take you over here and show you those strawberries and how they're coming along. I don't think I've showed y'all yet, but I scored some hard pipe this past fall. I've got to go pick up my sprinklers. It came with 100 Rainbow Bird 30s and a bunch of fittings. But I'm tickled to death to have pipe trailers and to have all this 2 and 3 inch pipe. That is going to be awesome. We've never had a lot of solid set irrigation before, and we have often needed it. So tickled with that purchase. Right here is our 25 tomato field. We laid this plastic back in December and spread some cereal rye over it, and it won't be long now, especially for those earliest varieties. All right, well, what we got here is these 4 rows are plug plants that I got tips out of Idaho and started them in a greenhouse myself. These were not covered. These are plug plants also that were covered, and next to them you can see the cutoffs that came from California. Noticeably smaller plants, but they all still look really good. These are Fronteras right here, and you can see we got some crowns going on. Healthy looking plants. Looks like we're gonna be frost protect them from now on, because they've really started to bloom out this week. About time to start running some fertilizer to them. But these cutoff plants look really good as well. They don't have as many crowns on them, obviously, because we just planting in October where I'm at in North Carolina. We just don't have enough time for a whole lot of plant development before it starts to get cold. So that's the reason that not a lot of people, there's not a lot of use of cutoffs in my part of the world. But they all look really healthy and good, and pretty pleased with them. And I know I'm gonna have less yield with these cutoffs than I would with plugs, but I'm hoping that by tripling these up instead of doubling, that we'll get similar yield per acre. That's my hope. I've had some people ask about it being too tight, airflow, disease, that sort of thing. There's just as much spacing in these as we used to do in a double row setup. So the spacing is the same. It's just a bigger bed than what we used to use. So that shouldn't be an issue. And I do have 2 drip lines so that all 3 rows will get consistent nutrients and water. That was another concern that I heard early on, was that one drip line down the center was just going to feed them center berries and starve the outside 2 rows. So that was the fix that I came up with for that issue. We're finally drying up. We're about ready to start laying some plastic on this other land. It's worked down ready. I just got to get fertilizer spread and chisel plow it, and we'll be ready to start laying. It's supposed to rain here the next couple of days. Hopefully it won't amount to much, and we'll be able to get out in the field next week and get some dirt work done, get some plastic laid, and I will make a video about that when we get going on it. But I just wanted to give y'all a progress report on everything, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you next time.